Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Juice Baseball channel, and welcome back to another episode of the New York Mets Legends Fantasy Draft Series here on MLB The Show 23. It is draft and trade deadline day. I hope you guys are excited because we got to get into it. Let's start right away with the draft. As you can see, 69-20, nice. 16 and a half games up in the division. We pretty much have this on lock, I would say. But let's get to the actual draft and have some fun, even though we all know that the draft in this series doesn't really matter. Ooh, but first, the Mariners are offering me an offer. Offering me a trade. They want to give me Pedro Martinez, a 26-year-old D potential 66 overall, for Carlos Salas, who is a 21-year-old 57 overall C potential player, and Carlos Delgado, third baseman, C potential. Yeah, I'd rather not have this guy, so I'll just keep my bad players and you can keep your bad players and we can move on. Or we can just forget that ever happened. Oh, did I just see something crazy for next episode, or for later in this episode? Joey Bats has made it to the trade deadline. Jose Bautista, this is one of the guys that I've been asking for in this series. Well, that changes things, because previously I had been saying that there wasn't really anybody that we were going to make a move for unless some unforeseen thing happened, and that might be just the one unforeseen thing that happened. Jose Bautista on the trade block. I don't know why. I mean, he's having a decent season. Not to the production that he had the first couple of years, but he's having a pretty good year. This might have just changed some things for later in this episode. Keep that in mind. But it's time for the draft. Go to the NBA draft, not the NBA draft. I said both of the drafts that weren't it. I was going to say NFL, then I changed it to NBA. Go to the Major League Baseball draft. Thank you very much. And we can take a look at some of our top prospects that we have scouted that are down the board. Now, remember, we pick at pick 30 in the draft. We don't have a second round pick. So we have a round 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, this guy, Carlos Ramirez, is a very interesting prospect because he's 88 to 93. We know that for sure. He's in that range. And there's a good chance he could fall to us. Now, he doesn't look like he does anything super well right off the bat, or honestly in the future, except for he has a big arm. But I am very intrigued by him, and he's probably the only guy that's going to be really, really good off the bat that's going to be available to us. We do have this guy, Ronald Calderon, who is a burner, but doesn't do anything else well. That's the kind of prospects that we're going to be finding this late in the draft when we're picking this late, because that's just the way things go. Now you got a guy like Jordan Weaver, but we only managed to get him to 50% scouted, but he does look decent. But who knows how true that actually is. Same thing with William Chang. He doesn't even look that good, but he's got the potential, but he's only 60% scouted, so I would doubt that 82 to 96 is actually that true. We'll keep him in mind, though, but I doubt that that's actually going to be true. Robbie Sanchez back at the top of the board. He looks like he's going to be pretty solid, but I doubt that he makes it to pick 30. And then Peter Yamamoto also looks really, really good defensively as a defensive center fielder, but again, I don't know if he's going to be there. So we're going to have these guys on our board as players to keep an eye on. We don't really have that many options. So these are the kind of guys that I'm looking at. I think we're going to probably go with one of those guys that we first put on the board, like Carlos Ramirez or Ronald Calderon, because they have that potential that's kind of crazy, and we know 100% about what they are, so we know that potential is in that range. So I think those are going to be the two guys that we go for, barring any crazy thing happening where a team reaches down for them, because this guy's projected to go, he's ranked 32nd in Major League Baseball and 39th on our board, and then Calderon is ranked 32nd on our board and 43rd in Major League Baseball. So these two guys are kind of underrated, but that doesn't mean another team hasn't scouted them all the way and seen that potential. Let's go to the draft, though, and see where everything falls. We've had drafts in the past where something has not gone my way, where a player has gotten taken earlier than I would have expected. Number one pick is, I think, the Tampa Bay Rays, and they will draft somebody. Who is this? Who is this man's name? He's a big guy. Luis Lange. Okay, we know 10% about him. He's the #1 prospect in baseball, and they got him. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the #1 team doesn't take the #1 prospect. Usually that only happens, though, if they're like a closing pitcher. But sometimes it happens. And the Giants had the 2nd pick in the draft, and they will take a short guy, William Hubbard. He's ranked 3rd by both us and by Major League Baseball. And now the 3rd pick in the draft is the St. Louis Cardinals, taking a lanky guy, a little tall, Benny Burns, 7th ranked prospect in baseball, 8th by us, and he will head to St. Louis. So now we could easily just simulate to the next pick, I guess. If I could find it. There we go. Tommy McGregor heads to the Padres. He's the 5th ranked prospect. Who's number 2? Why is number 2 still on the board? Because he's a closing pitcher. That's what happens. See, when the top prospects are closing pitchers, they usually stay around till late 1st round, around like the mid-20s, I would guess. But we'll simulate to our pick since since none of our guys are really that valuable. And look what I said. None of our guys are really that valuable, but a couple of them did get taken already. That's kind of crazy. Robbie Sanchez went top 10. Robbie Sanchez is probably not a top 10 player. He's got 90 potential at the cap, but he is not a top 10 player. And then over on this side, Peter Yamamoto, he goes at 16 to the Royals. If I was the Royals, I'd be happy about this pickup. 18-year-old prospect. He looks okay, but, I mean, whatever. And then who else got taken that we didn't have, or that we had scouted? There goes Carlos Ramirez, probably the guy that I would have taken. But he doesn't look like he's a first-round guy, in just my opinion. And then Oka got taken, but we weren't going to take him anyway. I can't believe the Orioles took that guy. They must not have scouted him at all. I don't know. But we're going to take Ronald Calderon because he's the next guy up on our list that has the goodest. I can't speak. The best potential. So Ronald Calderon, welcome to New York. Probably not a first-round pick, but it is what it is. We wouldn't have got him in the 3rd round, so glad to get him. He's going to be very low overall, but he's going to have a pretty decent potential. 85 to 95. I like the sound of that. The only guy left on our board is William Chang, so we might as well grab him. I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's got that 82 to 96, but that's only at 60%. So I don't know how true that's actually going to be. Our next pick is in the 4th round, and we have no more scouted players on the board, so now we have to just go off of a whim. And I might just take guys that have like the highest potentials, knowing that they're not going to actually be that high of potential. But a guy like Dylan Corley, how bad can he actually be? Probably really bad, but we're going to draft him. Not add to the draft queue. Draft him. Dylan Corley, left fielder, 18 years old. Probably going to suck, but we might as well grab him because he had a good shot of being decent, I guess. We really need to get guys that have like really high potential and really high starting overalls, so that when we find out officially how good they are, it doesn't come down that bad. But it doesn't look like there's anybody else left like that. Gilberto Chavez is certainly not going to have a true potential of 99, but I'm going to draft him just because there is that slight possibility he could. He's definitely not going to have 99 potential, or anywhere close to that, I would guess. But there is a small chance that he could. And now we're just going to take Willard Diaz because he's the highest total potential left. And that is our draft, ladies and gentlemen. We won't find out how good our prospects are until probably a couple episodes from now. Maybe the trade deadline or the August episode. That's probably when we find out. But that's going to do it for this part. We will go into, next time you see me, we will go into all-star stuff. And then, yeah, we'll be right off ready to go. So hope you guys enjoyed the draft, and let's get to all-star festivities. All right, let's make some trades here. We're looking at Jose Bautista, but we got to get to the trade deadline first. It's a day to sign draft picks. This is the time to find out if anybody's interested in signing with us. So our number 1 pick, Ronald Calderon, has 33% interest. So that's a little bit annoying. But William Chang wants to be here, and a couple of guys actually want to be here, so that's nice to see. But we can get William Chang, offer him a contract, and we will offer him $609K, and he has decided to sign with us. So the first domino has fallen. It's William Chang. and we will get, hopefully, Gilberto Chavez to sign with us, and he has declined it. So Gilberto Chavez says, no thank you. Okay, we'll keep on simulating. Austin Riley, 1 to 2 weeks. Dodgers have offered me a trade. They want Brian Hoover, a 23-year-old, 76-year-old overall prospect closing pitcher, for Ryan Zephyron? I know. Why would I even think about that for a second? Alex Rodriguez, shoulder inflammation. That's not good. Today's another day to sign draft picks, though. 36% on Calderon. We'll go for Chavez now. We'll offer him $426, and he has decided to sign with us. Thank you very much. We will go for Dylan Corley next, and hopefully we can get him in, and he has decided to sign as well. So now we only have 2 more pitchers, or 2 more prospects to sign, and I don't know if they're going to make the time, they're going to get the interest in time to sign. That's going to be a little bit close. Today's the day to sign draft picks. 41%, that's good. We're getting closer. Still can't offer just yet. Another day to sign. 46%, okay. We're getting there. Austin Riley's back healthy. Hopefully A-Rod's back, and he is. Oh, no, he's not. He just said that he was off the IL. 51%, perfect. Calderon we can offer, and we will go crazy on his offer, and he has decided to sign with us. So we got our first-round pick, Ronald Calderon. Now we just need Williard Diaz. Alex Rodriguez no longer injured. That's beautiful. Camilo Duvall traded from the Guardians to the Diamondbacks for a couple of young prospects. Jason Kendall traded from the Giants to the Angels. The Giants making some very interesting trades. 51% for Williard Diaz, and we will offer him that contract, and we have gotten everybody. Beautiful. Love to see it. Love to see it. Arroyo's injured. Another day to sign draft picks, but we don't need to. And today is the trade deadline. We have 83 wins, by the way. I don't know if anybody's keeping track of that. We have 83 wins. Jose Bautista is on the block, and I think I'm going to have to take a swing at Jose Bautista. I know we might not need him, but I've wanted Jose Bautista since we started this series, and he's never been available until now. So we got to go talk to the St. Louis Cardinals and ask about Jose Bautista. So what would they want in return? They want Greg Maddux, Marcus Silva, and Vida Blue. Yeah, that's not going to happen, but I appreciate the gall. But this is where some of our young prospects come into play. This is why we've been trying to get some younger guys, some potential guys, because this is where we need them, like these closing pitchers. We don't need all these closing pitchers, but one of them could be the turning point. Especially a guy like Ross Dixon or Adolfo Bautista, who we've had for a while. They have Raleigh Fingers, but they could use another closing pitcher. Why not? Let's see what else we can move on from. I would be willing to give them probably Austin Riley, right? We probably have to send them Austin Riley. I don't want to give them Marcus Silva because I feel validated to have him. I like him. I don't know how we got him, but I like him. How are we going to do this? How in the world are we going to make this work so we can have Jose Bautista on this team? Or maybe we don't even need Jose Bautista. That's also a possibility. So if we put up Colton Cowser and we throw in Austin Riley, and we throw Adolfo Bautista or any of these guys. Okay, so none of this gets it done. So, is it even possible to get Jose Bautista? We could give them Barry Bonds. I've talked about how Barry Bonds is one of the more veteran faces we've had in this series. We've had him since the year 2 deadline, and he's been here ever since. So he's been here for 3.5 years, basically. Is he the guy that gets it done? We've had Bryce for a couple of years. We've had Hank for a year and a half. We've had Ty Cobb for a year and a half. A-Rod is another guy that we've had for a couple years but haven't been able to do anything with. David Wright. I forgot David Wright was still here. We moved him to AAA. That's right. But maybe David Wright needs to get moved because now he's not as valuable. And we have Austin Riley, who hasn't really gotten a shot. Oh, but would that be sacrilege to trade David Wright, Mr. Met? I feel like that's like bad omen to trade David Wright when we're the Mets. But this trade does do it. David Wright and Willie Peralta for Jose Bautista. Now, I don't know where Jose Bautista would fall, where he would play. Because we have Hank Aaron, we have Bryce Harper, we have Ty Cobb, we have Barry Bonds. So the outfield's pretty much like closed off. The only place he could play is DH. Who plays DH right now? Who plays DH right now? I guess I could check. Who plays DH for us? It's Barry Bonds because we have... Oh, that's right, because I have Bryce Harper in left field. Okay, so... Bonds is hitting DH. I don't want to take Bryce Harper because I like Bryce Harper. Oh, why did Jose Bautista have to make the trade block? Why did he just have to be... He just had to be put on the trade block, didn't he? I was fine. I was content with not making any trades at the deadline this year. And then they go and throw Jose Bautista in my face. Like I'm not already a stacked roster. How do we make this work? Do we even make this work? David Wright is the only man that I would consider trading. Then we would just call up Austin Riley to the bigs to be a backup third baseman. Although I don't even know if we would need to because we have Jose Reyes who could play third as well. Oh. Sharona. I don't know what the right move is. I feel like we just have too many players right now for this to make sense. I don't think this makes sense. I know Jose Bautista is amazing, and I've wanted him for a while, and he's never been able to get on the team. But in a couple of years, he's a free agent, so maybe that's how we get him. Shoeless Joe Jackson's also here. He'd be fun, but again, he's in the outfield. We don't really need him. Chase Utley is in the trade block, but he's got a torn MCL, so I don't know why he's on the trade block. Manny Ramirez, we've already had. Tim Salmon, or Salmon, however you want to say his name. I don't want. And he's in the outfield. Prince Fielder, we've already had and we got rid of. I think if we're gonna make any trade, it's gonna have to be something that we make on our own. But all of our pitchers are really, really good this year. So it wouldn't even be a starter, I wouldn't think. Is there any starter that we would even consider? Probably not, because all of our guys are having, like, career years. All of our guys are having career years. Sandy Koufax is good to see him have a good year. Valenzuela made the All-Star team. I think this Babe Ruth made the All-Star team as well. He had 13-2. Babe Ruth's having a pretty good year. This is the other Babe Ruth. He's 8-10. Yeah, the other one definitely made the All-Star game. Dontrell Willis. I thought we had, but that must have been last Legend Series. We had him. Hunter Green. He's not having that good of a year. Garrett Cole, 6-10. Yeah, I just don't think there's any pitcher. I mean, Randy's he's put up 3 straight 13-win seasons. I just don't think there's any other starting pitcher that I would want. Maybe Ed Walsh. But who would we trade away? Whose place would he take? I just don't think it makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I maybe could listen to a relief pitcher trade. I don't know who that would be. Who's having a good year in the bullpen? Is Duran's having a good year. He's had 22 games. Johan Duran is having himself quite the year. Could I get him for Michael King? possibly. This could be a nice little bullpen switch up. Duran is a free agent after the year, but we can bring him back. I know I've said his name different times each time I've pronounced it, but it's okay. If I give them Trevor Hoffman, because we simply don't need him. He's 47 years old. And then I throw them Richie Haynes. Okay, they like that. I could do that. What about Alexander Wiley? No. Felipe Cordova. Cespedes. Aponte. Billy Hamilton. Okay, so it looks like only that one guy. It looks like it's only Richie Haynes gets it done. But he's 75 overall at 18 years old. I don't want to do that. What about Nick Madrigal? Nick Madrigal gets it done, and we don't really need Nick Madrigal. So I think this is going to be the guy. It's going to be Michael King, Trevor Hoffman, Madrigal for Johan Duran. Let me quickly just go and see if there's any other pitcher that's having a better year than he is before I make this trade. So it looks like everybody's top bullpen arm. Ooh, Brian Abreu's having a pretty good year too. And he's 29. Interesting. Brian Abreu's having a good year. Lefty Grove is having a pretty good year. Okay, so there's a couple good bullpen arms that are having good years. But I think there's not having anybody better than Duran. I mean, his ERA is unbelievably low. He's having a really good year. I think this is going to be the trade. I know that Duran's a free agent, but that adds another bullpen arm who's having a good year and a guy that I trust in the postseason. A guy that I trust in the postseason. Hal Newhouser, honestly, is a little bit too high of an overall. Maybe we could get either Lefty Grove or Brian Abreu. We could do that. Do we go for Lefty Grove or Hal Newhouser? Lefty is a lot older at 35. He's got 33 saves, 5 blown saves. Why is he saving game? Oh, because he's the highest player in the bullpen. Okay, that makes sense. He's got a lower ERA. They're under contract for the same amount of time, but it's just a huge age difference. That's the only problem. I think the Johan Duran move is going to be the only one we make. It adds another bullpen arm who's having a really good year. Better than what Michael King was having by far. And now I trust this bullpen unbelievably. And I think that's the only move that I could realistically make that would make sense. I mean, I could add a guy in the bench, but I mean, we already have a pretty amazing bench. So I think that's going to be the trades that we make for this trade deadline. It wasn't eventful. It wasn't anything crazy. It could have been. It could have been absolutely insane. But I mean, we're 83-28 in July. So this team is pretty much already a championship team. We don't really need to change that too much. We have 2 guys that have over 15 wins already. So, I mean, I think we're pretty well off. So we're going to simulate the trade deadline. We need to add another pitcher to the team. Let's add Frankie Montas. He should have some eligibility left. Hopefully he does. It's going to be awkward if he doesn't. How many players do we need to have on the team? I don't really know. Frankie Montas. Does he have any options? He does. He's going to go to AAA. All right, that should be good, right? Hopefully. Today is the day to sign draft picks. All right, perfect. So we are now into August. We're probably going to play, I don't really know, maybe a home game against the Braves. They're not playing very well. Is there a team that's playing really, really well? No, not really. The Rays, 61-50. That's about the best team that we play in the month of August. I don't know. We'll figure it out next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.